This video is an overview of Midmark N9 and M11 steam sterilizers preparation and loading. Always refer to the appropriate technical documentation for the complete list of instructions, safety alerts, and sequence of procedures before conducting any service or maintenance operations. Types of items you can process in your steam sterilizer. Before placing any instrument in the M9 or M11, check the instrument manufacturer's instructions for use to ensure the materials are compatible with steam sterilization and to verify the acceptability of sterilization parameters. Midmark steam sterilizers are designed to sterilize metal instruments, rubber, or plastic devices, steam sterilization packaging for medical devices, cassettes, high or low-speed handpieces, and surgical instruments. Do not sterilize items composed of corrosion-sensitive metals, fragile items susceptible to breaking under pressure or high temperature, biomedical waste, or plastics that may break down or produce residue when exposed to steam or high temperatures. Preparing items for sterilization. Instruments must be thoroughly cleaned to remove all residual matter such as debris, disinfectant residuals, blood, organic tissue, for example. Follow the instrument manufacturer's instructions for proper cleaning and preparation. Clean instruments immediately after use to avoid drying of residual matter. The use of automated cleaning equipment is recommended in addition to manual cleaning for clinician safety and cleaning effectiveness. After cleaning, thoroughly rinse instruments with distilled or equivalent type water. When rinsing is complete, instruments should be inspected for damage, debris, detergent residue, and dried before packaging. If necessary, repeat the cleaning process. If the instrument manufacturer's instructions require lubrication of the instruments after cleaning, wipe off excess lubricant before packing for sterilization or loading into the sterilizer. Immediate use steam sterilization. In urgent clinical situations, Midmark steam sterilizers are capable of immediate use steam sterilization of instruments. Instruments should be thoroughly cleaned and prepared for sterilization. Instruments sterilized for immediate use should be aseptically transferred to the sterile field and should not be stored for later use. Sterilization records should indicate that immediate use steam sterilization was utilized. Unwrapped loads. For an unwrapped cycle, place a surgical cotton towel, paper tray liner, or central supply center wrap folded to fit on the tray bottom before putting unwrapped items in the tray. Arrange unwrapped items on the towel so they do not touch one another. Please consider the following when choosing whether to sterilize your instruments unwrapped. The sterility of unwrapped instruments is compromised upon exposure to a non-sterile environment. Follow CDC guidelines for using unwrapped sterilized instruments. Due to the sensitive nature of some types of surgery, instruments used in such procedures must be wrapped or pouched to maintain sterility and to be stored. The water reservoir should also be drained and refilled with fresh distilled water each day when processing instruments for these procedures on a routine basis. General guidelines for loading your steam sterilizer. Items to be sterilized should be arranged to permit free circulation of steam. Refer to general guidelines in the setup and user guide for examples of proper loading. Use only M9 and M11 trays and use them only in the corresponding sterilizer. Using other trays could restrict air or steam flow to items, resulting in inadequate sterilization and drying. All items must fit within the sterilizer tray and not extend over the lip of the tray. Instruments must not scrape the chamber walls when sliding the tray into the chamber. Jointed items must be sterilized in an open position so all surfaces are exposed to the steam. Reusable instruments, devices, and items must be arranged in a single layer on the trays to permit proper steam flow and drying. Glassware or utensils capable of holding water should be positioned on the tray with the open side down so any water condensate drains from the container. When sterilizing glassware, check with the manufacturer to ensure it is compatible with steam sterilization. Rinse tubing with distilled water or water that meets the referenced water purity specifications and do not dry prior to sterilizing. Arrange tubing on the tray so there are no sharp bends and the tubing ends are open and unobstructed. Follow the device manufacturer's instructions for disassembly of multi-part instruments prior to packaging and sterilization to assure all parts are adequately exposed to the steam. If items are being sterilized and stored for later use, they must be packaged and completely dry when removed from the sterilizer chamber to avoid potential recontamination. Variations in load configuration, size, wrapping materials, and the environment may require the operator to increase the default drying time to ensure all packing and instruments are completely dry. When sterilizing a load with one or more handpieces, utilize the wrapped on, wrapped to, or custom cycle, depending on the handpiece manufacturer's instructions. Pouching and wrapping items for sterilization. The M9 and M11 are capable of sterilizing pouched or wrapped items to preserve sterility after processing. Use only sterilization pouches and wraps that have been cleared by the FDA and labeled for use with the steam sterilization cycle being used, and be sure to follow the pouch or wrap manufacturer's instructions for use. Instruments made from different materials should not be mixed in the same pouch or wrapped pack to avoid potential instrument damage. Pouches, wraps, and their included instruments should not touch the chamber wall. Clearance allows proper steam circulation and avoids potential instrument damage. For proper steam circulation and drying, the preferred orientation of pouches is resting on their edge, best accomplished using the Midmark pouch rack, supplied with the M9 and M11 steam sterilizers. If additional pouch racks are needed, order using the appropriate kit part number. If more than 2 pouch racks are used in a single load, additional dry time may be required. The use of a pouch rack requires the removal of some of the sterilizer trays. When using a pouch rack, load a single pouch per rack slot. Orient pouches in the rack so the plastic side of one pouch faces the paper side of the adjacent pouch. Proper loading is using a pouch rack. Without a pouch rack, pouches loaded directly on the trays will dry best if loaded with the paper side down. Do not layer or overlap pouches in the trays. Pouches should be loosely packed with the handpieces and instruments, single height loaded to permit proper steam flow and penetration to the items. If pouches or wrapped packs are labeled using a marking pen, the ink should be non-toxic. On paper and plastic pouches, only mark on the plastic side of the pouch. On wrapped packs, mark the labeling information on the indicator tape or apply a separate label. Shown here are some recommended pouch load configurations for Midmark steam sterilizers. When using cassettes in the M9 and M11, follow the cassette manufacturer's instructions for use. Do not wrap items too tightly. If an item is excessively wrapped, sterilization can be compromised and the wrap is more likely to tear. Cassettes can be loaded on the trays, but they must fit within the boundaries of the tray and they should not touch each other, the tray above, or the chamber wall to allow proper steam circulation. The total instrument load, including the cassettes, should not exceed the limits listed in the maximum capacity tables in the setup and user guide. When using the optional vertical cassette rack in the M11, the maximum load including cassettes can be increased to 12 pounds. Additional dry time may be required. Shown here are some recommended cassette load configurations. Clean textiles recommended for steam sterilization can be processed using the delicate cycle. Verify the acceptability of the delicate cycle sterilization parameters with the textile manufacturer to assure the textiles are compatible. Textile packs must not exceed the thickness limits specified in the maximum capacity tables in the setup and user guide. Textile packs must fit within the boundaries of the sterilizer trays and not touch the chamber wall. If multiple packs are placed on a single tray, Maintain a minimum of 1/4 inch between packs for proper steam circulation and drying. Load size. Successful sterilization depends on proper loading of the sterilizer. Do not overload the sterilizer chamber. Adequate space must be maintained around all items placed in the chamber to ensure proper steam circulation and adequate drying. This chart provides guidance on the maximum loads that can be processed. Maintaining proper spacing between all items being sterilized should be the deciding factor in determining the maximum load that can be processed. For more detailed information about your sterilizer, refer to the Midmark Steam Sterilizer Setup and User Guide. For further assistance, contact Midmark Support Services at 1-800-MIDMARK.